welcome to the show where it's wrestling with entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, the trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday, previewing and reviewing the latest shows from WWE, AEW, New Japan, and everything in between every Saturday, and dropping some bonus content on Mondays on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I'm, of course, your host, James Shea, alongside Kaliko Yas.
I mean, this ain't Cardi B, but came through drip, drip, drip. Came through drip, drip, drip. We talking drip.
And if it's up, and it's up, and it's up, and it's up.
I mean, as long as it's not the this pussy going outside. You know, the official song for SummerSlam talking about coochie going outside.
Have you ever heard of Fab? Fap?
WAP?
WAP. Yeah.
Oh, I heard a WAP.
Yeah.
Oh. WAP was performed at the Grammys. So, yeah, I heard a WAP. WAP was performed at the Grammys. Just for context there.
And that's your bit of trivia for today.
There's your trivia. WAP was nominated and performed at the Grammys for Best Rap Song. There you go.
Well, we need to stop talking about Courtney B.
Just saying.
We're not even 2 minutes in. We have already been off the rails.
I'm just. I mean, I told you, man, on the other episode, Flo Rida should have been saving us. See, we didn't appreciate Flo Rida's songs until we got stuck with Cardi. We didn't appreciate Pitbull and Cardi B and Flo Rida until Cardi B came into the scene.
Very true. Well, despite Courtney B, it is a great day for wrestling because we are wrestling with our top 10 gear of all time. So this is the pro wrestling gear that we found the most memorable, interesting, resonated with us, that we liked, maybe even wanted to own at one point. Maybe we do own it. Not me, clearly. I only have one piece of ring gear. But that's that's another story completely. But yeah, that's what we're doing today. And Kaliko, drop us number 10.
I mean, full disclaimer, I decided to do top 10 overall ring gear because if you had the drip, you just had the drip, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you got it, you got it. So, for me, of all time, top 10, number 10, I had Bianca Belair at number 10. And the reason I put Bianca at number 10, because her gear is always banging. And I give her props because she makes her own gear.
True.
So it takes motherfucking effort. Like everybody else above her got the drip, but she would be, if she was like self-made gear, she'd be number 1. Because that motherfucker, I mean, she's making her gear, she's making her husband's gear, I'm surprised, she's probably making Angelo Dawkins gear, to be quite honest. So to me, she's 10, her gear is killer, and she always had, and she makes it, she makes her shit, so it's very creative, so it comes from her dome. You can't get no better than that. And I've yet to see her in bad gear.
That is a good question. and considering how intricate a lot of her gear is, it's amazing that she does make it herself. But yeah,
Or
you're right.
and the only women's gear that I know that has yet to malfunction like a motherfucker.
Well, looking at you, Lara Valkyria.
Nikki Bella too.
And that is why it's your number 10.
Number 10. I mean, she should be one, but everybody else.
Yeah. Alright, that brings me to my number 10, and that is a one ravishing Rick Rude. Um, you know, just the aesthetic of Rick Rude, generally is, very, striking. Especially his robes were, I mean, they wasn't that flashy, but it came across what it was supposed to come across, without being, a full-on Ric Flair robe. And then you have the airbrush tights, which I don't think was done a lot back then. You could correct me if I'm wrong, but he had a lot of interesting airbrushed designs. Very interesting, very intricate. And it even played a lot. Some of his gear even played into who he was in a rivalry with. Most notably, Jake the Snake's wife was airbrushed onto Rick Rude's tights, which enraged Jake and just made that rivalry just a little bit better, simply because of ring gear. So, for that reason, Rick Rude is my number 10.
Man, I got him higher, but I mean, because that motherfucker, for him to do it in the 80s, it was different. Like, he was always having different gear. And as a person who's been watching wrestling over the time, yeah, the gear, yeah, it it was very stale. You knew Roddy Piper was coming out with a kilt. You knew Jake the Snake was coming out with tights. So
Yeah.
it was kind of a given. Uh, Full disclaimer to the people: I kind of give the modern people the edge because the seamstresses now are just killing the seamstresses from 30 years ago. I'm sorry, but hey, sorry, not sorry, right? Number 9 to me was actually a tag team, Legion of Doom.
Hmm.
What made their gear? I mean, their gear was the same, but what made it pop was those shoulder pads, and everybody wanted those fucking shoulder pads. Like, I wanted those shoulder pads. I mean, it was just iconic. I mean, you couldn't think of Legion of Doom without the spike shoulder pads, and consider the fact that they used one of the spikes to pop the motherfucker's eye out at one point. I mean, weapon of opportunity there. I'm
Oh
just
yeah.
saying. But it even though it was simple, it was just their thing, and it's something that has never been duplicated ever again. So that thing is just timeless.
And if you're thinking about jumping somebody from the back, you'll think twice about jumping somebody that has spikes coming out of the shoulder pads. You know what I mean? So it served the purpose as well.
Yeah, it served its purpose. You
Hmm.
could
And that's why it's your number 9.
That's my 9, Legion of Doom.
That brings me
Legion of Doom shoulder pads, them bitches.
that brings me to my number 9, and that is a one Seth freaking Rollins. Um, More, kind of going with the period, I would say it's that 2000 and 2020. Yeah, let's go
2020?
2020 to like 2022 run, where it was just he was kind of he had that flamboyant drip god, edge to him. You didn't necessarily know what you were gonna get. Like uh, 1 month he was like the devil in flame gear. 1 month he would be in a Rey Mysterio inspired gear to fuck with Dom. When Dom was a good guy at that time. And I mean, most notably, the Dusty Rhodes gear from Hell in a Cell when Cody had that, nasty, tech pair. So, while I think that was maybe the best set Rollins was, just when it was coming off of psychology, having great matches, and fucking with his opponent as well. And it translated to his gear. And that's just something that, if you're telling a story with your gear with while, you're in the match, you're doing something. And you're doing something right, I would say. And that's why he's my number 9.
Hmm.
Kaliko?
number number 8. Jeez, I mean, number 8. It's gonna be interesting. Number 8 for me. I picked Rey Mysterio.
Hmm.
Rey Mysterio had some crazy gear. Like the Joker themes. The one that sticks out to me, the Joker themed at WrestleMania. Um, but he was always full of color, right? And being a luchador, I mean, the mask, everything that even with his mask, everything had a purpose to it. He always tried different colors and different combinations with them. And if you saw him in '96, yeah, he came a long way, bro. So like he used to come out looking like the Riddler. So I mean, so I'm just saying, like his gear for the last what from his I mean it's his WWE run. I would say that his WWE run gear has been some top notch shit. Always trying, always doing different things, always trying different themes, um, always different colors. He had Marvel themed, he had DC themed, so he was always willing to try it. So I give him props for that. So my number 8, Sir Rey Mysterio.
That brings me to my number 8. And that is the one Great Muda. Great Muda has some of the most interesting, eclectic gear that you could probably ever find. Um, a lot of the time, it kind of looks like what am I looking at? But this is somebody that I definitely don't want to fuck with because his gear is so intricate. It looks so threatening. It looks like, you know, I can't imagine that it's not so very expensive as well. I mean, even there was one when he came out for Grand Slam in AEW, and I think that it was inspired by Alien from the Alien franchises. So I mean, even like the gear that he retired in was just incredible. Like it's such a traditional Japanese look, but you know times 1,000 by how it's designed and the intricacies to it that it even translates to a more modern feel despite being traditional, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's just really cool shit. So yeah, Great Muda, number 8.
Well, shoot. speaking of Japanese, my number 7 was Asuka.
Hmm.
To me, she always dresses like she's ready for Chinese New Year. She dressed like she could be an extra in the Chinese New Year's parade, but it almost seems like her ring gear takes on the persona that she is at the time, right?
Yeah.
Uh, Same with the masks. Uh, her colors were always crazy. Like she would do crazy combination of colors, and she would always do crazy things with her face paint, which was also kind of a thing, right? She went from just like a basic, because when she first got into NXT, her face paint was pretty like, okay,
She didn't even
but
have
now
face
it's
paint
getting,
in NXT.
and now she's like full on anime mode, anime villain mode. Uh, so I mean, she's slowly but surely trying to get back to the Kana days with her face paint, which is appreciative, right?
Hmm.
Um, so I mean, and right now she's more in the darker tones, but when she was in her lighter tones, it was like, especially Kabuki Warrior days. Oh man. And she always got a mask, and I always be like, how the fuck she walk out and do all that crazy shit with her face, and that mask don't fall off? I'm just,
Because it's attached to her mouth. She holds it in. She holds it with her mouth.
well, god damn it, Kana. I mean, Asuka. But yeah, I mean, she's willing to try it all. Although, she's done it all: jeans, shorts, the thing that kind of looks like a thong, but maybe not a thong. Uh, Mismatching knee pads. It's just like it all works for her because it seems like it's almost like her ring gear is like her fighting style, organized chaos.
I get that. Yeah.
So so yeah, number 7, Asuka.
That brings me to my number 7, and that is the Big Red Machine Kane, specifically 2000 to 2003. Like the full, when he had the full mask with the tank top on, like he was fucking Bane at that time. Like he was jacked to the teeth, and I mean, unfortunately, they didn't do a lot with him, but I dare say that nobody really looked better than him. You look at that and, he's such an intimidating, force. And then you kind of go to the 2002 version where they cut out the mouth so he can talk. I dare say that that's my favorite version of the King gear. Despite showing more of his face, he looked even more intimidating. I couldn't tell you why, but he kind of looked like he looked more like Jason from in or just out of a horror movie in general than he had ever had at that time. So it always stuck out to me. Obviously the traditional, long sleeve was, the original, but the alterations, over the years, I dare say, were better than the original. So yeah, um, Big Red Machine King is my number 7.
See, my number 6, Ravishing Rick Rude. That, back then, like we said, airbrush was a thing, but it was more like shirts and like little photos, like airbrush photos and shit like that. Nah, Rick Rude, man, nah. To put somebody's wife on your ass and your penis, boy, that is the pettiest of petty I've ever seen in my life. Uh, and you know what's funny? Even though he came out with a basic robe, and it's funny because he would put the warrior on his trucks and shit. It was crazy because even though his tights, the robe was basic, everybody was waiting to see what was under the robe as far as what is he wearing with his tights. Whether it was the one that he had the Intercontinental title on his crotch, the one with the Ultimate Warrior on his crotch, the one with Ravishing all on his crotch, the one with goddamn polka dots on his crotch, the one with Jake Snake's wife on his crotch, or a random woman on his crotch. That dude just had it, right? It was you had to be there to appreciate the surprise because it was funny because they would always pan to the women when they would do that, and it was funny because it's like I like to see all you fat slobs and you please be quiet while I take off my robe. And he made his revealing of his tights a thing,
Right.
and that in itself is worthy to be number six because no one ever came out. It was just like, oh, I can't wait to see what he's wearing underneath it until it was like Rick Rude. So number six, Rick Rude.
All right. Well, that brings me to my number six, and that is a one Tetsuya Naito, specifically his Tokyo Dome suits. I dare say that not a lot of people, pro wrestlers, come out in suits to the ring, but Naito makes that shit look good, and he kind of adds to that with the masks that he wears to the ring for those matches as well. So, depending on what match he was in on that given January 4th, his ring gear kind of explained the story that he was in. The first two-night Wrestle Kingdom, he was the man that had everything to nothing to lose and everything to gain, and he gained everything. His ring gear reflected that. I believe on the back of his jacket he had something in Spanish that said something similar. Um, Going back to this very last, Wrestle Kingdom where he came out when he wrestled Hiromu, his ring gear reflected that it might be his last time in New Japan, and it very well kind of was because he kind of left like 2-3 months after that. Um, it's very intricate and it tells a story before you know he actually gets in the ring. So, and I mean, it's just um, you know the mask that he comes out in is like really fucking cool as well. So yeah, Naito, my number six.
Mm. My number five, a tag team, The New Day. No one's gear fit in with what was being. No one, their gear fit into nerdom and pop culture unlike anyone I've ever seen in my life. Whether it's third, what was it? The Bootios, when they had the Bootios cereal, they actually dressed it to match the box of the Bootios. or the Power Ranger gear, the green and the white Ranger. That's tight. Or the Mortal Kombat gear, or the New Orleans gear, or they've had so many different types of gear that fits within pop culture or what is popping at the time. The Final Fantasy gear when they were hosting 33, which was freaking nuts, right? The American gear that they wore, like they were like Apollo Creed when they did the freestyle battle on 4th of July, right?
Yep.
I'm telling you, it was like some, like, hell, even the Sonic gear that they had in SummerSlam 2018, promoting Xavier Woods up, up, down, down. Uh, the Kofi Mania gear, the Dragon Ball Z gear at 30, what, 32? So I'm just telling you that their gear, I never see no one's gear intertwined with their love for nerdum and Comic Con ish quite like the New Day. The New Day shit has just been on the pulse of nerd culture, which was to me is super cool. To me, and I mean, yeah, you can't get no better than that. Number five, New Day.
Well, that brings me to my number five, and that is a one Macho Man Randy Savage. Ooh, yeah. Um, so, like you said, like in the 80s, not a lot of people were, you know, Roddy Piper was coming out in blue tights. Hulk Hogan was coming out in yellow tights. At least Randy had his logo on the back of his trunks, but most notably, his ropes. Um, he had some spectacular robes that didn't wasn't necessarily your traditional like Ric Flair robes. It had its own flair. No pun intended. It was unique and different. That you could actually tell the difference between a Randy Savage robe compared to a Ric Flair robe. Um, and they were all equally as spectacular. I mean, most notably WrestleMania 4, when he won the WWE Championship. He wrestled 3 times that night. He came out in 3 different ring gear for each of his matches. That is just insane, especially for that era and time. That he
Hmm.
was that aware that his ring gear mattered that much. And then, he, it didn't necessarily just end there in the 80s. When he became Macho King, it wasn't just, a normal, crown and scepter. It had to be macho manified. Um, his WrestleMania 7 gear against the Ultimate Warrior, very iconic. From the robes, it kind of went to the jackets, which he had a field day with. There was no, two were never, similar. I think the most, I don't want to say it's the most, but one of the most memorable is, the Slim Jim jacket that was a part
Hmm.
of the Slim Jim campaign. They actually made a Comic Con exclusive of him in that gear with Slim Jims. I bought it because I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, Macho Man. It wasn't just gear. It was an experience to see what he was going to wear. One of those, you know, wrestling gear icons. One of them that kind of pioneered, making ring gear cool. and that's why he's my number five.
Hmm, I feel that. Macho Man. I got him a little higher, but right now my number four is indeed actually the Ultimate Warrior.
Hmm.
In the 80s and late and early 90s, wrestling ring gear was not a thing. This was the first person I've seen match. I mean, Rick Rude did it too to a certain extent, but I've never seen Warrior match to the title to the ring gear he was wearing at the time. To the point that WWE actually sells those specific colors of his belt. It's known as like the Warrior White or the Warrior Purple or the Warrior Yellow or the Warrior Blue or the you see what I'm saying? The Warrior Yellow Intercontinental Championship, the Warrior White WWE title, the Warrior Blue WWE. I actually have the Warrior Blue WWE Championship because it was the Ultimate Warrior. Uh, it was one of those things where he came out with different colors and different face paint, but he actually matched when he was champion the title to the mood to the gear that he was wearing at the time. Survivor Series Warrior White, Royal Rumble Warrior Blue, SummerSlam Warrior Yellow. It was yeah. So I mean, and it was iconic. It had the little streamers on. It seemed so simple, but it was just the neon colors were popping in the late '80s, early '90s, and that was he was the standard bearer for that generation, which was crazy. So yeah, number four, Ultimate Warrior.
That brings me to my number four, and that is a one. Um, it's actually a specific piece of gear in this one, and that is Eddie Guerrero's WrestleMania 20 boots. Um, I think that maybe Eddie had some of the best boots, just generally speaking. The gold with the black flames, and that match was just kind of very iconic for what a piece of ring gear being used in such a unique and interesting way that kind of wasn't done before that. Um, you know, um, Kurt Angle working on the ankle through the whole match. Um, Eddie untying the boot a little bit every single time, to the point where he tries to grab the ankle. Eddie pushes him off. The boot comes off. He grabs him for the roll up, gets the 1, 2, 3. Um, Iconic moment. He's in the right way with the title in one hand, the boot in the other hand. If there was, a, there's a few pieces of memorabilia I really like to have in my collection. I would 100% love to have Eddie Guerrero's boots in my collection, and that's the reason why they're my number four.
Hmm. There it is. So my number three. It's essentially two people, but they practically dress the same because you can't say one without the other.
Pretty
Which
Dudley.
is, hmm?
Pretty Dudley.
Oh heavens no. Rick and Charlotte Flair,
Wow. Okay.
because all of their gear, the robe, the the robe. I'm pretty sure Ric Flair's got like 30 to 50, like 100 robes. And each of those robes were like $20,000 to $30,000, easy.
And he has
And
none of them.
Charlotte, probably not. And then Charlotte pretty much followed suit in the same thing. Charlotte's 33 robe was freaking crazy. Um, Hell, her robe at SummerSlam this year was pretty crazy. All her robes are nice and they fit within her time. I remember she had the Cruella Deville ish like robe, which was nuts.
That was a good
Uh,
version of Charlotte.
oh yeah, the Cruella Deville Charlotte was nuts. Um, but Ric Flair, his robes, even though like they seemed so touche, but they were just so elegant, especially considering the fact that like who else is coming to Starcast or Starcade in a helicopter popping out with a robe, and then Charlotte does the same thing at 35. It's
Right.
like, so I mean, those little like the ambiance of the robe and the meaning of the robe, and no one's gonna duplicate. Only person that could duplicate Ric Flair's robe entrances, or even wearing a robe of that stature, is a Flair. So that's why I say they're both kind of intertwined, because to me it's just a generational family wearing it. So yes, number three is Rick and Charlotte because they both wear the robe. It's basically a continuation of tradition.
Well, that brings me to my number three, and that is the ring gear of Rob Van Dam. Nobody made a singlet look as cool or interesting or fun as Rob Van Dam did. The airbrush, you know, if if Rick Rude made it in fun, if he kind of invented it, RVD transcended it. No two gear was ever like. It always had some intricate, weird, interesting design that just popped and made him so unique and different from literally everybody else on the roster. You know, and it fit. Really does gear fit somebody's personality as well as RVD's gear does. You know, it fits his personality that you kind of know who he is, kind of right when he comes out by the gear that he is wearing. You know, the dragon gear from One Night Stand in 2006 with the red dragon with the eye that was the yin yang. So iconic. You have the white gear that he wrestled Jeff Hardy in the ladder match at Rebellion. There was one that he wore that was it kind of had the yin yang sign that was like yellow and green with kind of like cactus pokes pricks in it that I just found really cool. Maybe because I had the action figure, and it was the most the thing that I saw him the most in, just because I had the action figure. Still has the
Mm-hmm.
action figure. Funny enough, the paint started to come off of him. Um, but yeah, the dragons, the yin yang signs, always had something in it to say that he's Rob Van Dam, he's the old, whole effing so Mr. Monday Night. It and put the point across that he was Rob Van Dam, and you know I dare say nobody has kind of like you said. I dare say anybody that tried to duplicate it that actually succeeded. And that's why he's my number three.
Well, my number two is actually the Macho Man, Randy Savage. All the reasons you said, but like I said, in the '80s, it was different. It was very rare to have very different ring attire. And the Macho Man was that guy. He had different colors. He had different hats. He had fucking bandanas. This motherfucker was a statement. He was a fashion statement in the 80s because he was just the guy who was just the hat, the streamers, the multi-pronged shorts, especially specifically the Macho King. The Macho King, he showed his ass off as the Macho King, man. It was funny because he traded the crown or he traded the hat for a crown. And that motherfucker was just rocking it. So it didn't matter what he was wearing. The crown, the Macho King was dope because he had the purple, he had the robe, he would wear like different colors tights. You have the purple, and then he had sensational Sherry by his side. He had the neon, the bling bling, like his. He had a. I remember specifically the one where he was standing, and then it was kind of like a silhouette suit. It was kind of felt like a Roman god, if you will. And then the glasses, he always had like crazy glasses that always somehow went with all of his clothes. Yeah, I mean, I'm just telling you, the Macho Man was a mother effing G when it came to his gear, and that's not even including like the WCW run, the NWO gear run. Like, yeah, he's man, that dude had it. He had it, and that that will never be duplicated. That that ring attire, his onset will never be duplicated. Hell, even the way he dressed off the field, the bandana with the sleeveless shirt, with some jeans and some cowboy boots. He dressed like he was ready for Sturgis, homie. But but, but yeah, it was just he was just an iconic look. The shade, specifically the shades. Them shades were ahead of his time because now those are the shades everybody wearing now.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, the Macho Man, number two, the Macho Man. Yeah.
My number two is your number three, I believe, and that is a one Ric Flair. Well, the tights weren't, anything, unique or different. His robes had, a certain flair about them that made him so unique. Um, you know, the feathers, the diamonds, the stud, just the intricacies of it all. You know, there's so many. You can look at a Ric Flair robe and know exactly who who it is. It's Ric Flair. Um, and he's had some unique takes and different designs as well, like the gold one with the belt. Obviously, the most iconic one for whatever reason is the butterfly, the black with white.
Yep.
There's the I like to say the senior version, the red with the gold. Obviously the last rope that he, from his first retirement match with Shawn Michaels, the blue was just, absolutely gorgeous. Um, if there was anyone that, I find really interesting that kind of sticks out to me was the Starcade robe. Like you mentioned, the one against Holy Race in the cage. Um, you know, it was so 70s, and it was 100% Ric Flair, but it was so different from his other robes that he had done. It just kind of it was just unique and different, and it just kind of, for that reason, kind of sticks out to me. For whatever reason, I think that might be my favorite Ric Flair robe. But yeah, Ric Flair. Number two, Styling and Profiling.
I mean, shit. Number one, man, I put a lot of thought into this, but this guy is just, he is the modern day drip king. And he was, I think, your number nine, Seth Rollins.
Hmm.
His gear from 2014 and on has been bananas. Whether it's the Deadpool gear, whether it's the Game of Thrones Night Slayer Iceman, the fact he had the contacts to show that it matches. Uh, the Thanos gear, the Avengers Endgame gear, the White Ranger gear against goddamn against goddamn John Cena. Um, I mean that what gear? The Rey Mysterio gear to be petty, the Shield gear to get into Roman's head, the polka dot gear to get into Cody's head. Like he literally puts the thought into the gear to make it seem like to use it as a way to get into someone's head. The Kingslayer gear against uh uh
Triple H.
Triple H, uh Thanos, Avengers Endgame, Deadpool, Wolverine with his wife. I'm just saying, that dude has put in work with his gear, and he makes it even his gear at WrestleMania 40. It looked like something from Mardi Gras. I swear to God, like so. I mean, that dude has like his gear is just his ring gear has just been crazy. Always been crazy. It's always been dope. So I mean, B Slayer 35 against
Brock
Brock
Lesnar.
Lesnar, the team captain in 2019. I mean, design, rebuild, reclaim 2016 Money in the Bank. He's always had gear that kind of matched his moment. And I think in modern WWE, that is like crazy. He gets more talk about his gear. And I mean, he's a hell of a wrestler, but everyone's trying to figure out what the hell he's wearing and where the fuck he got it from so they can go get it. You can make the argument that Seth Rollins is probably one of the most cosplayed people nowadays because you can find his shit so easily.
And I imagine a lot of it's just easy to make as well.
It, yeah, it's pretty easy to make. So I mean, yeah, Seth is the guy now. He is the man with the gear this time. Seth Mysterio, Seth Rollins. I forgot about that one. The one where he had the Michael. It looked like he had the Chicago Bulls joint. That was the team captain joint. That's what I'm saying. Like yeah. That dude has been, yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like his gear, if you think about it, is matched all of his moments.
Oh yeah. So my number one is probably going to really disappoint you. Can But my number one is Stone Cold Steve Austin's vest. Um, like Ric Flair's, robes. You could definitely distinguish, who wore those vests. And Stone Cold's vest, it always told the story of, where he kind of was in that era. When he just kind of started doing the Stone Cold gimmick. It was very colorful in the back with the skull. Then you had the DTA, SOB, 100 proof, the skull, the gold skull, the red snake, the snake on the vest, the the vest side, not the back side. Um, there wasn't a lot of them made, so they're all kind of unique in their own way. But most notably, the most specific one I want to bring up is the OMR vest from WrestleMania 19 because it was, well, Stone Cold's gear never reflected the rivalries that he was in, or what mood he was in, or anything. The OMR really reflected everything so poignantly in his rivalry with The Rock and kind of where he was in his career. You know, OMR standing for, one more round. And Stone Cold never, you know, put in his gear where he was at, what it was.
Hmm.
So for him to acknowledge The Rock as one more round, one more match, and poetically, it was his last match ever. Well, until WrestleMania 36. You know, it was the perfect vest to end the perfect career. One more round with my greatest rival. Obviously he's pretty banged up at this point. One more match to kind of call it quits and go into that good night. Um, one more, just one more round, and I don't know why that vest resonates so much with me. Because maybe because it just sticks out so much from the other vests that he's done. But like I said, for my other some of my other ones, if there was ever something I would absolutely love to have in my collection, it would absolutely be the OMR vest that Stone Cold uh, wore at WrestleMania 19. The only time he wore it as well. And that is the reason Stone Cold, Stone Cold's vest, and specifically the OMR vest, is my number one.
Goddamn, kid. I had to get that out. Sorry.
Oh, definitely. So, yeah,
Goddamn, kid.
I'm surprised that you didn't have RVD on your list.
I mean, RVD had the nice singlets. I just looked at and he had them airbrushed. I just looked at people who tried different colors and different combinations of things and themed it within their time frame of their career.
I gotcha. All right. Well,
Because I mean, RVD has had some. He has some tight ones, and he like his ECW joints were tight. Um, One Night Stand sticks out. Um, yeah, it's just that I think hit the body of work of the others. kind of superseded.
Fair enough. Anything you wanted? Any comment on my list?
I'm surprised Austin's number one.
I knew you were gonna say
I'm
that.
shocked. I'm shocked. Shocked as hell because usually like simplicity. I mean, simplicity is best, right? Like if you got a good steak, just put salt and pepper on it, right? Uh,
Exactly.
so sometimes the best thing is simplicity. So I get it in that regards. Um, if Jerry Lawler had different types of gear with his kingdom, I would have put him on this list. I've seen him in USWA, so he always had the same gear. That's what kind of threw me off.
Yeah, he did.
Um, I'm trying to think of who else. EO Sky has great gear.
She does.
Um,
I I really thought that I should have Oscar on mine as well. Um, she was maybe number 11 at one point. Um, I'm kind of mad that I didn't put Charlotte on there as well.
well, by virtue of Rick, it's Charlotte. That's why I was like, honestly, that's like 1 and 1A because they're both doing the same damn thing. It's just that they put their, it's kind of like a gender spin on it.
Right.
Um, um, trying to think of who else. Um,
You had mentioned to me earlier Goldust.
Shawn Michaels. Yeah, Gold does have some good ones. He was 11. Uh, Shawn Michaels had some good gear too.
He did.
Um, he has some nice gear. It's just that he was always just uh tights, just tights. So it's
Yeah. I mean, he had
trying.
those intricate, like, I don't even want to call them vests, but he had those like ring gear, but it never. I mean, it was noticeable, but I don't think it ever resonated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it didn't resonate. The one that resonates to me most about Sean is 25, and I didn't even think of that. Taker had some interesting gear. He probably had the wildest swings in gear because he went from like 1990 Mortician to 96
Pirate.
cult guy to 2002 biker guy back to the dead guy. Like,
I mean, we can.
literally had like four seasons.
There is one piece of Undertaker gear that I would consider putting on the worst gear of all time. Um, he had like these snakeskin pants at Survivor Series. I think it was either 99 or 2000. It had to be the 2000, and it was just no. It just did not work. But yeah, the pirate gear, the Legion of Darkness gear, um, to yeah, just Undertaker gear in general.
Yeah, he had some okay gear. I'm trying to think of who else during that time frame. Kane was interesting. When he had the mask, it was just like solid. Took it off, and it was kind of like, eh.
Yeah,
Uh,
Brett.
uh,
Brett
uh,
had some underrated gear, especially
Brett had some good gear.
in '97 when he was in like the black and pink with the jacket. Like he was like really sharp at that time.
Pre Montreal school job, Brett.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, I get it. Um, trying to think who else back in the Attitude Era. See, Attitude Era, the gear wasn't like too crazy as well.
there was a lot of
Eddie
little.
had some good gear too. Eddie had some good gear.
Yes.
Um, Eddie Guerrero had some good gear. Um, trying to think of who else.
Do you want to count the Rock's like $500 shorts.
That wasn't really. It was like he was wrestling in the bitches. If that's the case, Ric Flair fucking
Yeah.
spent more money on alligator shoes than the Rock. Like fuck.
Well, I mean, technically, Ric Flair did wrestle in a suit one time against Jay Lethal, if you seem to remember.
Yes, I remember that. See, that's what I'm saying. So I mean, Ric Flair was out there breaking people's arms in like cashmere sweaters. So I'm not. Like, so kind of don't count. I kind of don't count those. I think of who else. Cody's gear so far has been okay. Um,
The problem with Cody's gear is that there's not a lot to distinguish one from the other. That is kind of
yes,
my
especially
problem.
when you're using red, white, and blue, and that's the other thing too.
Yeah,
Um,
like when he
well,
like when he was on the indies, like there was like a good distinction, especially with like color palettes. But like when since he's come back to WWE, it's really hard just to tell. Is this new gear? Is this old gear? Is this like what is the design here?
yep. AJ Styles, he
Simple
has
but
a
effective.
simple but effective. Um, I'm trying to think of who else. Gargano, pref- preferably the NXT takeover
Johnny Takeover
gears.
gear. Yeah.
Johnny takeover gears were fucking on point,
If only he wore more
especially
of his matches.
the what was it? He had one where he was Iron Man. Uh,
A Wolverine.
yeah, he's had. Yep. So I mean, he has some dope gear. Velveteen Dream was pretty interesting
We
too.
don't say his name. if
Hey man, hey,
I mean
hey,
if we're
hey. I'm sorry, he's there though.
I mean if we're bringing up controversial figures, I mean Benoit had some pretty good gear as well. I mean that fit his character.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, I can respect the gear.
Yeah, the person that made the gear didn't do anything.
Yeah, the seam. Don't blame the seamstress on that shit. Put don't put that shit on the seamstress. Um, Sting,
Ooh, yeah,
somewhat.
Sting had some interesting ring gear.
Um, yeah, Sting has some interesting ring gear. I'm trying to think of who else. Uh, uh,
Should we mention the Shockmaster?
Kyle Kyle Fletcher has been having some wild shit.
Ugh,
What?
those shorts leave little to the imagination, and I do not like it.
Uh, trying to think of who else, like honorable mentions.
Oh, Swerve has been rocking some interesting gear as of late.
Swerve, Naomi, when she was in her glow period, it was just like all over the place. Osprey looks like an Assassin's Creed character. Uh,
Which is what he's going for.
ba- Bailey has had like the biggest range of gear,
Um,
like Hugger Bailey, upset target Karen Bailey to now whatever the hell this Bailey is. So I mean,
well, I mean, it definitely, but it's the same type of gear, just made in a different fashion. You know what I mean?
true.
Like, I mean,
If they
Remy's,
let Julia cook, she could cook too.
yeah, she definitely can. She has some interesting gear. Um, it's Stephanie McCoy's gear isn't necessarily setting the world on fire, but it is setting on the world
It's
on fire
it's because
with
it's
the innings.
because it's Stephanie. That's why.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
Liv's
yeah,
been
yeah.
trying.
We know.
Liv has had some very interesting gear over the years.
Oh yeah, Liv looked like a looked like she was about to do some Beach Street shit, and now look at her.
Yeah.
Um, Dominic Mysterio has had some hella good gear because all of his gear has like pieces of his gear has nods to different Mexican wrestlers.
Yes. Even his dad. His deadbeat
Yes,
dad.
even his deadbeat dad. but somehow people don't pick up on that. But uh, yeah. So yeah, he's had good
Yeah.
gear.
Alright. I think that will conclude our coverage of our top 10 gear. We'll definitely do another top 10 again when hopefully it won't take us this as long to get another top 10 out. As long as it made us wanting to get this video out. Um, but we do have some interesting and fun things coming up as well. So definitely stay tuned for those. Of course, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, both on YouTube and Castbox. This was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Join us this upcoming Tuesday and Wednesday for new incredible interviews. This Saturday for our preview and review. And yeah, follow the show at Wrestling with Eve on Extra and on Instagram for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. Follow me personally at JamesJ993. Where can we find Kaliko?
I am Kaliko. I'm trying to think of it. You did say Okada. Hiromu, depending.
Depending on if you call that good ring gear or not.
When he had the cat.
The jacket's fire, yeah.
Yeah, jackets are fire. You gotta give him props for the jacket.
Where can we find Kaliko?
Oh, I am Kaliko, and then I'm trying to. Will we put the Young Bucks as good gear?
Does the bad gear, good gear, bad gear ratio match there?
I could, but jury's out.
And maybe
and maybe that's Hangman, although he looks like a cowboy. Worst gear has got to be like Farouk and John Moxley, right?
Yeah. And that's a debate for people to have in the comments. So comment if you good gear, bad gear. Does the Young Bucks gear deserve to be in the top 10, etc. Alright, for Kaliko Yachts and Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with Entertainment.
I'm trying to think of more gear.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.